Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another word test to share with you guys, and this is a new pressed powder, which was a total surprise to me. Actually, there have been a few recent releases that I feel have just popped up out of nowhere. Usually we get a little kind of heads up of what's coming, but a few brands are just sprinkling releases without saying a word, or at least I just don't hear about it. So today I'm going to be doing a word test and a comparison video on the new Sisley pressed powder. It is called, and I know guys I am going to butcher this, but I'll have everything listed in the description box below. I think it is called the Phyto-Poudre Compacte. Yeah, that was horrible. So this is a mattifying and beautifying pressed powder with cocoa, cacao, and mango, and I have the shade Too Natural. All right, so if I look a little crazy, it's because I have yet to finish doing my makeup. I've only applied my foundation. I did a little bit of a liquid, I don't even know, I'm gonna call it a bronzer, but it's not really a bronzer, and then my concealer, but I have no powder on my face whatsoever. So yeah, I'm gonna finish doing the rest of my face makeup once we apply these powders. So back to the Sisley powder. So it says here on the box that it is an ultra sensorial powder infused with 3 plant-based butters for moisturized skin with incomparable softness and comfort. Mattifies, evens out, smooths the complexion, providing a velvety and luminous finish suitable for all skin types. I have worn this. Actually, I was wearing this powder on my most recent Shop My Stash video. I just didn't list it there because I wanted this to be a surprise. So I have had this for a few days, and it comes in this beautiful red velvet pouch, and it's got a little like a band right here so you can secure it. And this is how the compact looks. And then I actually have it here on the side. It also comes with like one of these little kind of puff things, and that is the inside. So now for pressed powder, I have to compare this with my holy grail, all-time favorite, I will always have it in my collection, powder, which is the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder. So these are actually called the Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powders. I have the shades 1 Fair and 2 Medium. I like 1 Fair the most because I mainly use this for the center part of my face. So I usually like to brighten up a little bit. And for the most part, I usually have concealers and foundations that are maybe like a shade or 2 sometimes too dark for me. So then something like this really helps kind of balance things out. Right now, the foundation I selected is this one from Chanel's, the Ultra Latent Ultra Wear All Day Comfort Flawless Finish Foundation, and I have the shade BD31, and I hadn't really realized, maybe because I'm not done with my makeup, but I feel like it's actually a little too light for my skin tone. I had not realized that. I thought this was like my perfect match, but anyway, that's why I look as crazy as I currently look. And let's see, I feel like, okay, so this comes in 4 shades. There's 2 lighter shades and then 2 deeper shades. They're not really that deep, but these aren't meant to really provide a lot of actual coverage, a lot of pigment onto your skin, but it will provide some, just like the Charlotte Tilbury does. So in comparison, here is the shade 2 from Sisley, and this is 1 from Charlotte Tilbury. I've been meaning to replace my medium shade in the Charlotte Tilbury one because it's kind of hard to get in there at this point. I feel like this Sisley shade actually runs in between the fair and medium for the Charlotte Tilbury one. At least that's kind of what I'm able to tell. Like, it's too light. Like, it's not as light as the light shade, but it's also not as warm as the medium shade. By the way, this is Too Natural. So I'll do a swatch on my fingers here. So in the middle, I'm going to put the Sisley one. No matter what, I feel like no powder actually comes close to how the Charlotte Tilbury one even swatches. This one is so smooth. It is extremely finely milled. I mean, there is a reason why this is a holy grail of mine, and it is because it really helps smooth out my skin and just make it look airbrushed. So I really am a fan of this one. So here are, yeah, so here are like the swatches. My ring finger here has a shade light, the middle finger has the Sisley in the shade neutral, and then my index finger has the shade medium from Charlotte Tilbury. Now don't get me wrong, the Sisley one also feels very, very smooth. It's like a very fine powder. The thing is that it seems like this one's pressed in a little bit more, whereas, I mean, this isn't like a loose powder in here whatsoever, but it's just like so soft on the pan on this. Like, that's the best I can describe it. So yeah, we'll just kind of leave it at that. So what I'm going to do is apply the Sisley powder on the left side of my face, and then we'll do the Charlotte Tilbury powder on the right side. For Charlotte Tilbury, I'm just going to mix the two shades to try to kind of even things out a little better. And then I'll come back at the end of the day so that we can see how these are holding up. All right, so I have two of the same brushes, so we'll be using these. These are the number 2 Wayne Goss brushes, and they're both clean. I cleaned them earlier today to make sure this is as fair of a comparison as I can possibly do. And I'm just gonna go ahead and just pick some up. Like I said, it does come with like this little puff thing, but I don't really like to use that. However, if you want to kind of add a little bit more coverage on a certain area and you decide to use this to do that, this will actually be really helpful to use for that. So I'm gonna apply some on the under eye since I don't have anything here. You see, I actually feel like that brightened a little. And typically, pressed powders like this, I only really use in this section here. And then kind of whatever's left, I'll just kind of brush here on my T-zone. But today, just for testing purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and apply it all over my face. And it's not like difficult to pick up any product from here, just a few swirls, and you can see right there it picks up the pigment pretty well. I do feel that this actually gives my skin that velvety finish, and it actually doesn't look powdery at all when I apply this. It actually helped kind of bring down the shininess from the foundation just a little bit. I have been wearing the foundation at this point for about an hour, so I feel like it kind of brought down that shininess that it was starting to develop just a bit. It does say it's mattifying. I guess in that sense it is, but I don't believe this is going to be a powder that's going to keep your face matte all day. Same with the Charlotte Tilbury one. I don't really find that to be the case. This is more of a perfecting powder, something extra to make your skin look extra flawless, extra smooth, just extra nice. But yeah, if you want this for longevity purposes, you're going to have to use something else. Now the Charlotte Tilbury one is a very good one for touching up with because it is so finely milled. If you apply it over makeup, it doesn't start to cake up or kind of look funny on the skin. So when I come back later tonight, I'll go ahead and touch up with both, and then we can kind of compare in that sense as well. Oh, that's a good idea. I just thought about that. All right, so I'm going to mix the two shades from Charlotte Tilbury, like I said I was going to. Okay, and this one, I totally forgot. Ugh. The Charlotte Tilbury one picks up a lot of product. I hit pan on these fairly quickly. I mean, I have gone through a lot of them, and that's considering that I have a ton of other pressed setting powders that I also rotate from my collection. But this one, I mean, you do end up kind of picking up a lot at once, so I think because I was like really swirling in the Sisley one, I kind of forgot that. So yeah, keep that in mind. And then okay, and here we are, Sisley and Charlotte Tilbury. So let's see. Actually, I feel like the Sisley side looks a little bit more radiant. I actually feel like these powders, and I hope you guys are able to see, have a very different finish from each other. Now, the Sisley one did say here that it mattifies, evens out the skin tone, and evens out and smooths the complexion, providing a velvety and luminous finish. So yeah, I definitely saw that. It toned down the shininess on my skin a tad bit, not very much, because it is that velvety finish that you can kind of feel. And I see the luminosity that comes out of this. So it's kind of weird. Like, how do you manage to achieve all of those three things with the same product? Something that helps mattify, it has a velvety finish, but it gives a luminous look to the skin. And that is exactly what that powder has done for my skin. Now, the Charlotte Tilbury one does look airbrushed. I mean, like, I knew it would, but this one actually mattifies a lot more. Again, these are not powders that are going to keep me matte all day, but to help kind of perfect the skin or get as close to that as I possibly can. Like, that is what I count on with the Charlotte Tilbury one. And I love applying my makeup over this as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm shocked at how different they look from one another. When I used the Sisley powder the other day, it actually reminded me a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury one, but now that I'm seeing them side by side, they are very different. All right, so here I am trying to kind of do a closer look for you guys. I always feel weird doing this, but all for the love of sharing my love of makeup. So hopefully that kind of helped you guys like see how that looks. So I'm gonna finish doing the rest of my makeup and then I'm gonna show you guys how it's looking so far. It's only gonna take me like 5 minutes probably. I don't have a lot more to do. So yeah, so I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Alright guys, so that really only took like 2 minutes. I opted out from applying any type of highlight. Sometimes the highlight makes it a little bit more confusing as to what exactly I'm looking at. So I decided to just do some bronzer, a blush, and that's really it. So it's not looking much different. Just my face looks more complete as far as my makeup. I definitely still see more luminosity on my left side, more of a matte finish on my right side. So now I'm just gonna go about my day and then I will come back later and show you guys how this is looking, and we'll do a little touch-up experiment to also be able to compare the two like that and just see which one's better to keep in your purse. Maybe for a little touching up. I mean, the packaging on both of these is quite nice. It's still kind of luxe. This is like super vintage, and then, I mean, this is just Sisley, so come on. You bust out anything that's from Sisley and it's high-end, it's super luxe. So yeah, I mean, the price difference on these two is huge. So that's one of the reasons why I also wanted to, let me switch them. One of the reasons why I also wanted to do a comparison. This is pretty much 3 times more expensive than this one. So yeah, that's why we're here to do this, guys. So I will see you later today, and then I'm going to conclude with my final thoughts. Alright guys, I am back. It is 6.5 hours later. I do apologize. I would have liked to have done this wear test for much longer, but 6.5 hours is all I had in me. So anyway, I think I've already determined which side I like more. I'm not sure if you guys are able to tell at the moment. But before I tell you who the winner is on this battle of the pressed powders, I want to give you guys more information on the Sisley powder. I got mine through Harrods and they were having, I don't know what kind of sale. It seemed like it was just certain products from the Sisley line that were on sale, and it just so happened to be that this was one of them. So I actually got a pretty good price on this considering how much it costs here in the US. Now, this is already available here in the US only through the Sisley website. But on the Sisley website, they only have 3 shades available, which I find really odd because on the Harrods website, they have 4 shades available. So that is kind of weird. Either way, you do get it cheaper through Harrods, but then you have to pay for shipping. So yeah, you'll kind of have to do the math and see which is better for you to get if you are interested in this one. You do get 0.42 ounces, whereas in the Charlotte Tilbury one, you get 0.28. So obviously this one does have more. However, if you were to break it down, this will still be more expensive than the Charlotte Tilbury one, of course. I think that's really all I had to say that I forgot to mention earlier. Yeah, it was just the shades, where I bought it from, where it's available, and how much we get in here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get a little closer so you guys can see. Maybe if I get closer, you guys will be able to kind of notice the difference. Overall, my skin doesn't look too different except for one thing, and for me it's a very important thing. So let's see if you guys can tell. So I'm gonna bring you guys in a little, oh, wrong way. I always end up, okay. So I hope you guys are, let me turn this on. Too bright? Okay, I hope you guys are able to see how my skin is looking. Overall, the radiance is pretty even. I am oily in my T-zone. I mean, that was bound to happen, so we're gonna kind of ignore that for this video. But as far as like the rest of my face, or even as a whole, like it looks very radiant. It looks almost the same on both sides. I do feel like the Charlotte Tilbury one is perhaps a tad bit more oily here around the nose area. But the big difference for me, and this is where I was so surprised, is how smooth the left side of my face looks with the Sisley powder. The right side doesn't look horrible, but you can see my pores so much more on this side than on the left side. I even asked my husband if he sees a difference in my makeup, and the first thing he said was that my left side looked smoother. And it's true, it's the pores. I mean, I am so shocked. So okay, before I zoom you guys back out, I'm going to do like a little touch up with these powders, see how they work together. So using the Sisley powder here, going back to the same brush I used earlier, and see if we can tone down the shininess. I usually don't go straight in with powder. I usually blot first, but just to see, like if this is all I had in my purse, would I be able to get away with it? That actually did a really good job. Yeah, so that actually did a really good job. I'm not gonna take it all over my face. I'm usually just more concerned with my T-zone, but okay, that did really good. All right, let me grab my other brush and go back in with the Charlotte Tilbury powders. I'm gonna take a little bit of the medium shade and then a little bit of the light shade as well, just like we did earlier. This side actually is more oily. Okay, and that actually did a pretty good job at also smoothing out the pores that were actually showing quite a bit there. And even at this point, like I see that the Charlotte Tilbury did mattify just a tad bit more than the Sisley one did. That Sisley one does have that luminous finish, and it's very true to that. And it becomes radiant throughout the day. I feel like it just looks a lot better on my left side. All right, so with all that being said, my preference out of the battle of the powders is the Sisley one. Like, I mean, without a doubt, it is the Sisley one. Now, there is hesitation. There is not a doubt, but there is hesitation because I am a true believer, a huge fan of my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Powder. You guys know I've raved about this forever, and I feel like a lot throughout this video as well. These powders have always been my favorite. I've recommended these a countless amount of times, and I still think that the Charlotte Tilbury powders are amazing. I would still recommend them. I still stand by it. However, when something new comes out, I don't necessarily think right away, okay, it's going to be better. And I think it's just mainly because I am biased. These are powders that I've been having in my collection for just such a long time, and I know I can count on them. But you know what? Something new and better has come to the market, and it is this Sisley powder. At least for me and my skin type. I do have combination skin. I have an oily T-zone. I get dryness around my cheeks and my chin. For me and my skin type, this just works so good. I loved how it looked when I first applied it. I loved how it looked while I was wearing my makeup. And I love how it looks now that I touched up with it. I mean, I think it looks amazing. I love the packaging of this. It's like this zebra print but in black and gold. It's got the red Sisley logo on there. I mean, it just, to me, like, this just looks luxurious. It's got its mirror and then the beautiful powder in here with such a great formula. Alright guys, that is it as far as today's video. I hope you found it helpful. If you liked it, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. It really does help me out a lot. And while you're there, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time.